Well, hundreds of thousands of Haitians in the United States face an uncertain future after the Trump administration ended the temporary protected status program that let them live and work legally following Haiti's 2010 earthquake. Many now fear deportation. DW's Misha Komodowski reports.
Salvage.
Nader Sterling is a second-generation Haitian-American bakery owner who, following a new Supreme Court ruling, stands to lose a large percentage of her employees.
40% of our backroom staff are TPS. We're going to have to wait and hear what needs to happen, whether we have to let these employees go. These are employees that's been with us for years.
Temporary protected status. It lets people from countries deemed unsafe live and work legally in the United States. Haitians received it after the 2010 earthquake. President Trump tried to end the program during his first and second terms, but lawsuits blocked those efforts. That is until last month, when the Supreme Court allowed his administration to move forward. Now the case is sent back to lower courts, where judges are still considering it, leaving hundreds of thousands of TPS holders uncertain whether they will lose their legal status.
They're very disheartened by the situation because it leaves them in limbo. And so those are the things that we're hearing, unfortunately.
Approximately 350,000 Haitians in the United States are losing temporary protected status after the Department of Homeland Security says it ended the designation. One of Nader Sterling's regular customers, Farah Leroux, is among them. She says she's terrified of going back.
When you have 350,000 people leaving the United States, go to Haiti, they will quickly become target for extortion, for kidnapping, for recruitment by the terrorist group, because they know these people are coming back, they have money, or they have family stay behind in the United States that could send money for them if anything happened to them.
DW asked the Department of Homeland Security for comment. The agency responded, temporary protected status is exactly that, temporary. For too long, TPS has been allowed to function as a de facto amnesty program, despite Congress never intending it to be permanent. What we would say now is it's closing time, which means you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. The good news is it's not too late to get a $2,600 check and a free flight home. Farah says she will try to find other legal ways to stay in the United States, but for now, she's afraid to leave her home for fear of being detained by ICE. That means no more visits to her favorite bakery, and for La Paix, it means losing another loyal customer at a time when the bakery itself could be forced to scale back or even hold operations because of staff shortages.
And joining me now is Julia Gelat. She is Associate Director of the U.S. Immigration Policy Program at the Nonpartisan Migration Policy Institute. She leads its immigration data work and examines how policy affects families, workers, and the U.S. economy. Julia, it's good to have you with us. Who are the people affected by this change? Are most recent arrivals, or have many lived and worked in the United States for years?
I think it's really a mix. TPS has been available for Haitians since 2010 and for Syrians since after the outbreak of the civil war there. Some Haitians have been in the U.S. for decades, and many also entered over the last several years after the COVID-19 pandemic, when many people came to the United States. So it's really a mix of people with deeper roots and people with a more recent history, but who are living and working in the United States and joining our communities here. Mm-hmm.
The administration says that temporary protected status was always supposed to be temporary. After more than a decade, does it have a legitimate point?
It has been hard for presidential administrations to end TPS grants once they're established. There are other groups like Salvadorans who have had TPS for even longer. So I do think that these long uses of TPS may have stretched the original intent, but there was never really a plan that our Congress set up of what happens after people have been in the U.S. for a long time, are well integrated, and have been living on TPS. What comes next? Many don't have any other path to permanent residence in the United States, and so TPS continues because that's sort of the only option for those folks.
The U.S. Supreme Court has allowed the administration to end these protections, but the court did not rule that Haiti or Syria is safe. Is the administration presenting a legal victory as evidence that conditions in those two countries have improved?
The Trump administration has said that people can go back to Haiti and Syria, that many people are living there, but they have also said that temporary protected status is not in the US national interest. They have put less weight on country conditions than other administrations have in thinking about ending TPS. And what the Supreme Court said was they have the discretion to do that. The executive branch has a lot of power in this arena to grant TPS and also take it away.
I know that the administration also says that ending TPS serves America's national interests. Does that mean that immigration enforcement is now outweighing humanitarian conditions in the Trump White House?
I think the Trump White House really is putting a lot less consideration on whether people deserve protection in the United States. We've seen this not just in terms of temporary protected status, but also narrower avenues to asylum for people who are coming across the border or living in the United States. And also we've seen a real contraction of refugee resettlement to the United States. We have many fewer refugees coming mainly from South Africa at this point.
Yeah, I think the situation in Haiti is rather clear. Syria is a different case. Bashar al-Assad is no longer in power. He's gone. Some Syrians have returned. I mean, is there now a reasonable argument for ending blanket protection when it comes to Syrians?
I do think for Syria, we're seeing other countries, European countries and countries around the world also reconsidering the protections that they had offered to Syrians. This is part of a bigger rethink. In the US, I don't know how much that really is part of the story or whether it's just that this administration doesn't think we should have temporary protected status for most groups. They've ended most grants of TPS. But I do think for Syrians, there is a different situation than for Haitians who are considering now going back to a country that's really overrun by gangs, where there isn't state capacity and where people coming from the United States may be particularly vulnerable.
You know, TPS never offered a direct path to permanent residence. Did the system, has it created this crisis by repeatedly extending temporary protection without providing a credible way forward?
I think what we're seeing is that the US Congress really hasn't been willing to take up immigration reform in decades. They created a policy that's temporary. They also put handcuffs on themselves to say that they needed to pass a higher bar to give permanent protections to TPS holders. So we're seeing that, our immigration system needs updating in so many ways. I think TPS holders running out of status is one symptom of that.
Julia Gallant of the Migration Policy Institute. Julia, we appreciate your time and your insights tonight. Thank you.
That was the scene as Vice President Barra Jagdeo left the Watuka House Tuesday night under heavy security, without engaging demonstrators who had spent more than 9 hours demanding answers over the MV Barima tragedy. The protest greeted the Vice President and members of his cabinet as they arrived in Linden for the planned Region 10 Public Day outreach. As the hours wore on, tensions escalated. Demonstrators eventually overpowered police ranks positioned outside the venue, pushed past the security barriers, and entered the compound, insisting they would not leave until they were allowed to speak directly with the Vice President. Despite the growing pressure, Jagdeo did not meet with the protesters. Instead, he exited the compound swiftly under police escort as demonstrators continued chanting for accountability and justice for the victims of the MV Barima disaster. Opposition leader Azruddin Mohammed, who also sought to engage the Vice President, later accused Jagdeo of avoiding the demonstrators and said the protest had sent a strong message.
we standing here and we represented the people of this country. Peaceful protest, not like what he did at Pegasus when they stormed Granger. I want people to know this was a peaceful protest today. Peaceful protest. We stood our grounds. I could have entered the building, but I refused to do so.
Mohammed also turned attention to the continuing political impasse within the Region 10 Regional Democratic Council.
1 year, September the 1st, will be 1 year after elections. And Region 10 is the only region without a regional chairman. That is not democracy, that is dictatorship.
Following those elections, Mohammed's Reinvest in Nationhood secured the largest share of votes in the region, winning 9 seats. APNU secured 5, the PPPC 3, and the Forward Guyana movement 1. However, the election of a regional chairman resulted in a 9-all deadlock between the WIN and APNU nominees, leaving the council unable to elect a chairman and prolonging the political stalemate. Mohammed argued that the situation has effectively denied Region 10 residents full democratic representation and called for an urgent resolution to the impasse. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
Monday night was pitch dark in Havana for the second day in a row, as the national grid struggled to restore power after the 6th nationwide blackout of the year struck on Sunday.
How do you think a person can live without water, without electricity, without anything? The kids have to go to bed without eating until tomorrow.
By Monday evening, the National Electricity Company said 4 generating units were back in service and blamed a meteorological event for the second collapse. Most Cubans now live with just a few hours of electricity a day, and it's a drain on morale.
It's hard to get up, to go to bed without electricity, wake up without electricity. You have to live day by day, so to speak. It's tough. It's really tough because things go bad in the refrigerator and you just don't feel like working.
The decades-long US embargo on the island state has left Cuban energy infrastructure ill-maintained and made food, medicine and fuel shortages frequent. A problem exacerbated in January when Cuba lost its primary oil supplier, Venezuela, with the US capture of Nicolas Maduro. The threat of US sanctions against anyone who exports fuel to the communist Caribbean state has also caused Mexico to cut off their deliveries.
At The Cable, we believe in giving back because when our community thrives, we all do. That's why, as a company, we make it our mission to touch the lives of everyone in St. Kitts. We spearheaded the renovation of JNF Hospital lobby to ensure better care for all. The Cable sponsors free Wi-Fi in every community center across St. Kitts, so no one is left behind in an increasingly connected world. We stand with communities through every moment, big or small, in culture, education, youth development, and more. Y a ti también, comunidad latina. Cuenta con nosotros. Estamos con ustedes. And when it comes to customer service, we set the standard. We're just a call, click, or visit away because you matter to us. Join the company that truly cares. The Cable, more than service. We're family. Somos familia. And we're proud to always give more where it matters.
A new day begins. The sun rises over St. Martin, bringing new energy, new possibilities. This island was built on resilience, progress, and the strength of its people. Our connection is what moves us forward. It links our communities, our businesses, our families. From the heart of the island to the shores beyond, we've connected St. Martin. From every street to every home, this network was built for St. Martin by St. Martin hands. Connection isn't just about signals, it's about people. This is your island and your network recharged. Proudly local, we're here for today, tomorrow, and every milestone ahead.
Still in the local segment, Jamaica could soon welcome direct flights from Accra to Montego Bay alongside a wave of Ghanaian nurses and expanded trade opportunities, all part of new bilateral efforts announced as Ghana's president began his official visit to the island today. We hear more in this report.
An auspicious visit at an auspicious time as Jamaica celebrates its emancipation and independence. The African leader's arrival signals a deepening of ties between Kingston and Accra, with aviation, healthcare, and commerce topping the agenda. The ties formed when Marcus Garvey's philosophies found their way into Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's political push and front of mind as he fought for Ghana's independence in 1957. Those bonds woven stronger with President John Mahama's visit with Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness Monday. Among the highlights, plans for direct air service linking Ghana to Jamaica's tourism capital, the deployment of nurses to bolster Jamaica's health sector, and fresh initiatives to expand commercial and trade exchanges.
Our two nations stand together on either side of the Atlantic for the dignity, justice, and historical truth that Garvey so forcefully championed. Mr. President, your visit solidifies the long-standing diplomatic relationship between our two countries. It builds on several high-level engagements at the bilateral level between our two foreign ministers, which have resulted in the signing of an agreement for the recruitment of health professionals from the Republic of Ghana and a memorandum of understanding on defense cooperation, as well as the updating of the agreement on arts and culture.
We came with our CEO of the Ghana Maritime Authority, and he briefed Mr. Prime Minister on the efforts we are all making in order that we can traverse the Atlantic and make the Atlantic become a bridge rather than a barrier between us. And I do believe that with the work that we are all doing, we should soon have direct air services coming to the Caribbean from West Africa, and then also direct transshipment to move goods and services across our two regions.
President Mahama also commended Jamaica's resilience in the wake of Hurricane Melissa, praising recovery efforts and expressing confidence in the country's ability to rebound stronger. He also underscored hopes for greater measures to boost Jamaica's revenues in African markets, positioning the island as a gateway for Caribbean-Africa partnerships, ultimately emancipating our people from economic slavery.
We have new opportunities for building that solidarity today. This time is not about liberation from colonial domination. This time it is economic emancipation of our people. And we have no option than to work together, bring our comparative advantages together to be able to create the prosperity that our people deserve. And that's why, Mr. Prime Minister, I'm very happy that you've outlined several of the things that we had the opportunity to discuss.
The visit marks a significant step toward diversifying Jamaica's international alliances and unlocking new streams of investment and cooperation.
Jamaica places great value on its relationship with Ghana, not only as a trusted friend, but also as a partner with whom we share common aspirations for sustainable development, inclusive growth, and a stronger voice for developing countries on the international stage. Jamaica is honored to welcome you. May this state visit mark another defining chapter in the enduring friendship between our two sovereign nations.
Salvaging the sunken MV Barima could cost taxpayers millions of US dollars, Attorney General Anil Nandalal has disclosed as he defended the government's decision to use an open tender rather than appoint a contractor directly. Speaking on his weekly program, Issues in the News, Nandalal said the government agreed to recover the vessel after families affected demanded the vessel to be salvaged. He claimed that some relatives had initially asked that the wreck not be disturbed, but later changed their position and said they wanted it recovered. The government then agreed to proceed with the salvage, he said.
It will cost somewhere between 8 to 10 million US dollars. A tender is out to salvage the boat. So you would have thought that the opposition got what they wanted.
The Attorney General defended the decision to invite competitive bids, arguing that selecting a company directly would expose the administration to allegations of favoritism or a cover-up.
If the government had gone and chosen some company to do the job, they would have said that the government is handpicking some family or friend.
Nandalal accused opposition parties of shifting their criticism after the government accepted calls to recover the vessel. He argued that they had first alleged the wreck would be left on the seabed to conceal evidence and then criticized the procurement timetable once the salvage process was announced.
They are concerned about milking this tragedy as much as they can to make as much political gains that they can make from this horrendous human tragedy.
The Attorney General also criticized opposition politicians of supporting the 3 men charged with murder over the disaster. Nandalal contended that representing the accused while advocating victims could create a conflict of interest. This is his legal opinion and political interpretation. No court has made such a finding. Javon Vickery, HGP Nightly News.
Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell said while freedom did not come in 1834, the journey began, which to him is reflective of the fact that emancipation is not a single act or event, but an ongoing journey. He noted that our political freedom must be matched by economic opportunities, social justice, cultural confidence, and active citizenship. The Prime Minister stated that as we continue to build our nation, we must recognize that true emancipation is more than freedom from oppression, but should also be reflected in the empowerment of people.
So when we have town hall meetings, village forums, and community engagement that bring our citizens and government together, these platforms are creating the space for us Grenadians in every community to share our ideas, to express our aspirations, and to contribute to national dialogue to help shape the direction of our country.
Prime Minister Mitchell noted that when the citizens are heard, communities are engaged, and every voice matters, the country is moving closer to the society that our ancestors dreamt about, fought for, and expected us to build.
In doing so, we are continuing the work that emancipation began, not only by expanding opportunity, but by empowering our people to become active participants and architects of their own future.
He said government remains committed to preserving the nation's cultural heritage, deepening historical awareness, and investing in the creative industries. The Prime Minister noted that ensuring future generations understand the struggles and remarkable achievements of our ancestors despite the odds is also closely linked to realizing true emancipation.
But our identity cannot be protected by the government alone. It lives in the choices we as citizens make, the stories we choose to pass on, the values we choose to uphold and place into the next generations of Grenadians, and the future we choose to create together.
Prime Minister Mitchell implored on citizens to help build a Grenada worthy of the sacrifices of our ancestors.
Let us show the world that the descendants who came before us did not fight for their freedom in vain. Let us show the world that we do not take our freedom for granted.
He highlighted that when people know who they are, they can't be easily shaken, and when they know where they came from, then they can decide where they are going. I am Gerard Joseph reporting.
At The Cable, we believe in giving back because when our community thrives, we all do. That's why, as a company, we make it our mission to touch the lives of everyone in St. Kitts. We spearheaded the renovation of JNF Hospital lobby to ensure better care for all. The Cable sponsors free Wi-Fi in every community center across St. Kitts, so no one is left behind in an increasingly connected world. We stand with communities through every moment, big or small, in culture, education, youth development, and more. Y a ti también, comunidad latina. Cuenta con nosotros. Estamos con ustedes. And when it comes to customer service, we set the standard. We're just a call, click, or visit away because you matter to us. Join the company that truly cares. The Cable, more than service. We're family. Somos familia. And we're proud to always give more where it matters.
At Digital Print Plus and Crafted by Design, we're thrilled to be your go-to print shop located in the heart of Bastille. From essential services like printing, copying, and laminating, to a diverse array of school supplies, arts and craft materials, and office essentials, we've got you covered. Don't fret, Digital Print Plus and Crafted by Design are here to stay and ready to be your trusted partners for all your printing and craft supply needs. Ready for a visit? Find us at the corner between Diliu and Princess Street. Just look for the vibrant pink and yellow building with white doors. We can't wait to welcome you to our creative haven.
Don't miss News Desk, weekdays at 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. on TVC. St. Kitts to the world, now streaming everywhere.
King James is a soca artist out of the beautiful island of Sunshine City, St. Martin. I love music, grew up around music, and I just love to entertain people. Got started in music from a young age. My creative process is, one, I would get a vibe, get a melody.
That's why having talent behind us makes such a difference. They're not just our local telecom. They're supporting local artists, giving us the support and tools to keep creating and sharing without limits. And with Telem's new internet speeds, I can upload my files and tracks in seconds, send big files to producers overseas, and even live stream without worrying about buffering.
But Telem has always played a role when it comes to young talent on the island. I would actually go as far to say this. Without Telem, there probably wouldn't be a King James right now.
Telem is showcasing that St. Martin can compete on any level. They are investing in us, in our creativity, and in our future. And that's something I'm proud to be a part of.
Opposition leader Azzuddin Mohammed has welcomed the government's move to seek a contractor to salvage the MV Barima, but says the decision came only after sustained public pressure and that the procurement timeline will only prolong the suffering of families still awaiting their loved ones. Mohammed described the announcement of an expression of interest as a victory for the victims' relatives and the opposition, and citizens who had demanded the wreck be recovered. Mohammed argued, however, that the salvage process must have started much earlier. He said the MV Barima had been underwater for 16 days by the time of his statement.
The government did not arrive at this decision on its own. It came only after sustained pressure from the opposition, from the grieving families, and from the Guyanese people. Had we remained silent, they would have left that vessel on the seabed.
He accused the government of treating an extraordinary national tragedy as an ordinary procurement exercise, arguing that emergency circumstances demanded a faster response.
The MV Barima sank exactly 16 days ago. Every passing day means the body is trapped, decomposed further, and evidence deteriorates more. This delay is unnecessary.
Mohammed referred to President Irfan Ali's previous disclosure that proposals had been received to recover the vessel. He also repeated his offer to assist with or personally facilitate the salvage operation.
It exposes a complete lack of planning, urgency, and leadership. When lives are lost and families are waiting for answers, you do not move at the pace of ordinary procurement. You act with urgency.
The opposition leader insisted that whichever company is selected must attempt to recover the vessel as intact as technically possible.
Any company engaged to recover the MV Barima must raise the vessel carefully and preserve it as evidence. The vessel should be raised as a whole to the best as it possibly can.
Meanwhile, the opposition leader said his party would continue to support affected families and pressing for Public Works Minister Juan Edgell's resignation. Javon Vickery, HGP Nightly News.
Every July 26th, Cuba has hosted celebrations to commemorate the armed assault led by Fidel Castro on the Moncada barracks. The annual event, called National Rebellion Day, symbolizes a young Castro's effort to overthrow Fulgencio Batista's dictatorship. In her commemoration speech at the Sufra Regional Development Foundation, SRDF, on July 25th, Cuba's ambassador to St. Lucia, Her Excellency Yenielis Vilma Regueiferos Linares, addressed her country's current hardship, satin with economic strains.
Cuba cannot listen well, cannot have economic transactions in the international market, and we cannot have access to credits. Why? Because we are included in a list of states that sponsor terrorism, justifying the financial persecution applied. However, at least or more than 3,000 Cubans have died due to terrorist actions, and more than 2,000 have been injured due to terrorist actions.
She also notes the pressures faced by the country's education and healthcare systems.
Millions of people have been deprived of the attention of Cuban doctors and healthcare workers due to the end of the medical brigades. 2 days ago, the Cuban medical brigades and the Cuban Minister of Health were also sanctioned. Cuban scholarships to Caribbean students are, in practice, being affected.
She asserts that Cuba and America are conferring, but in a way that continues to honor Cuba's right to self-determination. She acknowledges that Cuba isn't without its flaws, but that a wide percentage of Cubans are in favor of the revolution.
Cuba is not a perfect society. No society is perfect. There are political differences of Cubans inside and outside the country. However, more than 6 million Cubans signed recently in support of the revolution, and massive demonstrations have been held against the economic hostility and the threats of military aggression. A relevant fact is that the current constitution of Cuba was approved by 86% of voters in a popular referendum.
Honorable Regueiferos Linares thanks St. Lucia for its continued support at a time when Cuba is left for hours without electricity.
Imagine a country as hot as St. Lucia without electricity 24, 30 hours, and then electricity comes for 3 hours, so you don't have time to freeze the food or to freeze anything. You need to buy the food for the day. You cannot buy food in order to storage the food because there is no electricity to preserve it. It is a multi-crisis because energy is like the transversal axis of everything. So energy implies lack of everything.
For the DBS News World, Lama Marriott reporting.
A first-half hat-trick from Sharima Blake powered league leaders Honda Newtown United to a commanding 6-2 victory over defending champions Migrants Rockets in the lone match week 6 fixture of the 2026 Elvis Star Brown Women's League on Sunday, August 2nd. This marks the start of the second round. Blake struck 3 times in just 6 minutes, finding the back of the net in the 10th, 14th and 16th minutes to put Newtown firmly in control. Olujede Bridgewater pulled one back for Keon before the halftime whistle to keep the visitors within reach. The second half remained entertaining with Josanna Williams scoring early for the Rockets. However, Honda Newtown United responded with 3 more goals to complete an emphatic 6-2 victory. Here are the highlights with commentary from Phil Cooper.
Here is a ball in an in-swinger and it's collected and it's dropped out of the goalkeeper's hand. She had that in her hands by Sharima. And here is the captain for the Rockets trying to cut Miss Blake out. And there is a shot and the second goal after a failed attempt at a tackle. The second goal for the Newtown Honda ladies. Then goes to Boyles. Boyles trying to get it to Mills. And here is Carty. Mills trying to pass that ball ahead to Blake. Blake in a foot race with Matthew. She shoots. And the ball goes through the keeper's legs. Newtown United FC ladies in their home kit, red and white. And it's an in-swinging ball that is played too close and that ball is in. That ball is in. Williams, and it ball break to Williams. What is Williams going to do? And she slots it past the goalkeeper there. An early break for the Rockets. The Rockets being able to capitalize on the mistake there by the Honda ladies. Takes a shot. And so she has taken at least 4 of those types of shots. Each one of those shots has been easily collected by the goalkeeper. To Wilson. What is Wilson going to do? Wilson shoots. Oh! And it's played off! And it's offside. Asking the Lady Rockets to take the attempts from on goal. She plays it in. Oh, and it's off the post. Nisbet to Clark. Clark trying to go directly to Wilson, which was a bad pass. Here is Christian Mills. Mills takes it. Mills scores. Now there is a here on the wing for Blake. Blake beats Clark. Beats the and a wonderful goal there by Blake. Blake just giving a body feint, putting something on the floor.
The victory extends Honda Newtown United's perfect start to the season, moving them to 18 points, 6 clear of their nearest challengers, MSCR Old Road United Lady Jets, and Migrants Rockets, who are tied on 12 points. Elsewhere, 2 match week 6 fixtures were decided by forfeits after teams failed to appear. For the third time this season, Bailey Construction Security Forces United forfeited their fixture, handing MSCR Old Road United Lady Jets the points by default. Hector and Associates Hot Spring Bath United also failed to show for their match against SL Horses and Paul's United Sparks, giving the newcomers their first 3 points of the campaign. Under the competition's rules and regulations, both Bath United and Security Forces United have each been docked 6 points for every forfeited match. As a result, St. Paul's United Sparks move into 4th place and are firmly in playoff contention with 3 points. The Elvis Star Brown Women's League continues on Saturday, August 8th at the National Bank Group Technical Center.